Good evening, Wolf Adam. I hope you guys on my show. I made my two videos I made earlier. I guarantee all you Americans are shocked. I've been like, why the fuck would you choose hockey out of all the sports? You should play basketball or football because I'm Canadian, guys, and Canada's hockey sport. And I don't mean to be rude, guys. Even though I know you Americans think I'm crazy, hockey is the coolest sport out of all the sports, right? It's the coolest of all the sports. Yeah. Like, I've watched NBA highlights, I've watched football highlights, I've watched hockey highlights, and in my opinion, the hockey highlights are the coolest. When the players do amazing moves, it's the coolest, obviously. And I think for me, as a pro player, hockey is the greatest glory out of all the sports. Obviously. So you rather grab me, yeah, even hockey is the coolest sport, yeah, but they're biased because they're hockey players, but I mean, yeah. But all you Americans are crazy. I don't know, why don't you play like basketball or football? Basketball's tough. Basketball is very tough, man. And I'm only six foot. I can't. It's tough to dunk at 6 feet. Basketball's tough. Football's a bit easier than basketball. Football, you have injuries, man. And the one position I would love to play for football would be quarterback. Quarterback is fucking tough, man. That's tough. Like, accuracy with throwing, that's fucking tough, man. Yeah. I want to be a hockey player. I don't want to play other sports. Don't hate guys who said yeah. Hockey is the coolest for me, right? For me personally, right? That's the sport I want to play if I'm a pro player, right? Yeah. Why are CFL players the most underpaid players in the world? Pro players in the world, because football is not that popular in Canada, man. If football was popular in Canada, the CFL players would be making a lot more money, but because it's not that popular in Canada, that's why the CFL players are not making that much money. Because I guarantee all you CFL players, yeah, I don't understand. Like, the NFL's so fucking popular in the States, but like, us CFL players are underpaid. Yeah, you're underpaid, guys, because football is not that popular in Canada, man. Football is not Canada's sport, it's hockey. Obviously, hockey is popular up here. Football is not that popular up here. It's pretty popular up here, but it's not like even close to being as popular as hockey. That's why the CFL is not one of the big four, because football is not popular in Canada. Yeah. CFL is struggling, obviously, financially a little bit. Obviously, with growth. It's struggling with growth, too, obviously. It's struggling to reach the people of Canada, man. Fans just don't care that much about Canadian football. That's why the CFL players are underpaid. Most underpaid players in the world, right? Yeah, it'd be nice for us CFL players to get a raise. Well, the CFL will not give you guys a substantial raise. No, they're not going to do that because they have to hold on to the cash, man. The league's struggling a little bit, man. They have to hold on to the cash, man. Obviously. As TSN, I think, is paying the CFL like 50, 60 million a season around there, right? Every season, the CFL is collecting like 50, 60 million dollars from TSN. Tens of millions of dollars. So the CFL could raise the cap to $7 million and pay the players more, but they're not going to do that because they have to hold on to the cash, guys. The league's struggling a little bit, and they're cheap. They're not gonna give you that raise. CFL's cheap, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not for CFL players to get a raise. Yeah, the CFL will raise the cap, but like it'll take the CFL cap will not be at 7 million for maybe another 15 years, man. And the CFL's cheap. They're not going to give you guys that raise. And don't forget, the league is struggling a little bit. Only 2 teams in the CFL season were profitable, and the other teams broke even or lost money. CFL struggling, so they have to hold on to the cash, guys. Right? They have to hold on to that TSN cash. Obviously. But the players obviously deserve a raise. They deserve a bit more money. Yeah. All right, you think CFL players are worth their millions? No, they're not. They're not worth their millions. Why? Because the market for football in Canada is not that big, obviously. And the players playing in the CFL, the American players, star players playing in the CFL, are not the greatest football players in America, so they're not worth their millions, except for the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are worth maybe their million in the CFL, million three, million four in the CFL, around there. But the CFL star players are worth their hundreds of thousands, but they're not worth their millions because they're not the best players in America, right? I don't have guys been saying, yeah. Even the best Canadian players are not worth their millions in the CFL, even though they're the greatest players in Canada, because football, the market for football in Canada is not that, football's not popular in Canada, that's why they're not worth that. They're worth like 400, 500, 600,000. Quarterbacks are worth a million, million three, but they're not worth like 50 million that Patrick Mahomes is making, right? That's my point in the NFL. Yeah. Well, I believe the CFL players do deserve a raise CFL, but I mean, the CFL's not going to do that because the league is struggling financially a little bit. They're not making the kind of money that the NFL is making. CFL peaks at $300 million a season revenue. Obviously, but I told you they are collecting that, I don't know, $50, $60 million a year from TSN, the CFL. So they could easily raise the cap to like $1 million, $7 million, pay the players a bit more, but they're not going to do that. The CFL's cheap. They're not going to do that, right? Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice for us to see players to get a raise. Yeah, they're not going to get, you guys are not going to get a raise in a while. Yeah. What do you think will be the CFL's peak at the cap? Probably 9 to 10 million is the CFL's peak for the cap. If the league grows to $500 million in 25 years, the CFL won't peak any higher than maybe $9.5, $10 million, maybe $9.5 million for the cap. With $9 million, the players in CFL are not making a lot of money. Quarterbacks can now bargain for their $1 million in the CFL. Million, 2 million, 3, 700, 800K, and receivers can make 700, 650, 500, 400K. Defensive players can make 300, 400, 450K. The CFL. When good players can make like 200K, and like minimum wage should be like $1,000. Now the players are making a lot of money. They're making a great living. They're not multi-millionaires, but they're making a great living in the CFL. Obviously, if the CFL can hit that mark, but I believe the key for the CFL to get to the next level is by selling the Canadian product instead of the American product. But the CFL's not going to do that, right? Yeah. Yeah, enough about that. All right, man, you really consider this our pro hockey league? Yes, but champions are going to be movies RBG guys. That's my ultimate dream. It's not being a pro hockey athlete. Pro hockey athlete's fucking cool, but it's not as cool as being movie star. Movie star's cooler. Duh, movie star's cooler, guys. Yeah, man. What do you guys desire? I'm gonna watch a show with you guys. Now, because I'm gonna watch some Perry Stone. I think I might watch Knights of the Seven Kingdom episode 5. That's an amazing episode. I'm gonna watch that episode. I might watch it after Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Or I can make another video. I don't know. So I it's too late for the NHL players. Yeah, it's too late for the NHL players, but some of these NHL players might get a coaching job in my league, right? Chances are the GMs might take a chance on some of these star players in the NHL who retire. You know what I'm saying? And they can be even though some NHL players can't be legends in my league, if I start that league, you can be legendary coaches. You can get sport anchor jobs. You're still making a lot of money in my league. As I'll pay the ex players or millions as sport anchors in my league. Start them off at maybe 3.5 million a season. They get raises. What's the sport anchor's peak? Don't peak any higher than maybe like I don't know 12 million for a sport anchor in my league. That's good enough, right, for the players. Start them out 3.5 a season, and after their contract expires, you can raise their amount to maybe 6-7 million, making great living as sport anchors. Some of the ex-NHL players, and some of them can get front office jobs, GM jobs, and even coaching jobs in my league, and they'll get paid a lot of money for that too. But I told you, as a coach and GM, you guys don't get league revenue. That's how it works. Coaches are not worth league revenue, but I'm paying SHL coaches anywhere from $5 to $25 million. Start them off at 5, and if they have amazing career as a coach, they get raises to 7, 8, 9, 15, 20, even $25 million a season. A lot of money for the coaches. And they get their winning bonuses and their playoff bonuses. Yeah, it's a good deal for the coaches. Yeah. Listen, Sarah. Ivan, when the fuck are you gonna have a stick hand like that, Ivan? God-given gift, guys. I have the gifts. It's raw talent. Yeah. I have my father, my genes, obviously. My father gave me the gifts to be successful in the world, right? Because he knew the gifts out the doors of it. That's why he gave me all the talents, all the gifts, obviously. Wherever I want to do, I can succeed in. Give me the keys, too. Keys to the kingdom, right? Yeah. So, Ivan, you are going to make sure that the GMs balance out the players' for earnings. Yeah, you have to do that, guys. I don't want these guys stupid me, right? If a player signed like a 200, 150, 250, 280, 300 million, 400 million, 350 million deal for their career earnings for their first mega deal in their first contract term. After that, they have to take huge pay cuts. Don't pay these guys that money ever again. They no longer get league revenue. Once you're past your prime and you're a veteran player, you're no longer allowed to get league revenue, and you have to take huge pay cuts. You'll be making your 6 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10, 12. Don't peak any higher than 13 million. That's still good. Sign a player like a $3 million, like 21 million deal. That's still a good deal for the players. Making 7 million a season as veteran players. Yeah, only if they're playing at a high level. If they're not playing at a high level, then they'll be making like probably their million, 2 million a season, 3 million a season. Not gonna make that much money. But if they're still playing at a productive level, like Sidney Crosby, obviously, and Malkin and all those guys, they can get their 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9, 10 million a season. That's still good, obviously. So making a lot of money, but they took huge pay cuts. They're not going to get that ridiculous amount of money ever again. I'm not going to have these athletes do me. To balance out their career earnings, that's part of the rule. I'm going to tell the board of governors that, right? If it's that Pro Hockey League. 25 team SHL Pro Hockey League, right? 13 teams in Canada, 12 teams in the States. So that works. Now put $1 billion towards into the arenas. Amazing facilities. Practice facility, the main arena where the players play, big state-of-the-art gym when they all work out, and amazing training programs for the players. So in the off-season, they'll have the obstacles where the players can practice, whether it's stick handling, their accuracy shooting for shooting, and they use scrimmages, and they train, obviously. And they have a state-of-the-art gym where they train, where they work out, obviously. But the more important training is the on-ice training. Off-ice training is important. You have to work out, but the most important training is your on-ice training in hockey. You have to hone your craft in your hockey skills. My goal will be to hone my craft in stick handling. I want to be an amazing stick handler on the ice. Stick handling is for deking out players and your performance on the ice. So stick handling is very important. That's how you deke players. And then shooting is for scoring goals and assists. You also have to practice passing too. I'm pretty good at passing too. Obviously, in the hospital, I practiced blind passing with my on the back of my head. I was pretty accurate when I practiced my blind passing. I practiced blind passing in the hospital in the gym. I was pretty accurate with my blind passing, but no training, man. I did train quite a bit in the hospital. Every time in the hospital they took us to the gym. Some players played basketball, some players played football, and I always practiced with hockey. I always trained with hockey. I would practice my shooting. Not bad at backhander, wrist shots, but my slap shots I have to work on that. Every time I do slap shots, the puck is always low, so I have to work on like the higher accuracy shot for slap shots. I have to work on that. But stick handling is the one thing I'm pretty good at. That's a God-given gift that my father gave me. Yeah, and that's pretty impressive for something never trained. I know. Yeah, but I now understand why that guy praised you for your stick handling. Yeah, he praised me. He's like, holy shit. I played with him. I was practicing on the ice. He's like, oh my God. He's like, you're a good stick handler. He told me that. You're an amazing stick handler, Ivan. Shocked I was on my stick handling skills. At the time, I wanted to play in the NHL. I didn't know it was locking me. Yeah, I want to play in the NHL. Do you want to be a PK Subban, Ivan? I'm like, yeah, PK Subban. I talked to the player a little bit. Yeah, it's nice for me to maybe trade in hockey and maybe be an undrafted, unsigned free agent. But I didn't know it was a lock me that. I was ignorant. I didn't know. This is back when I was like, what, 21? I was 20 years old back then? Yeah. 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 Was hockey always your favorite sport, Ivan? No. My favorite sport growing up was actually football. I love football. But eventually I ended up liking hockey, obviously. That's why there's a reason why I bought that hockey stick. I bought my ice skates and I bought my my puck and I trained. I was training like a couple of times on the ice, and that's where I met the kid at the park in Elmer. Obviously. And he was blown away by my stick handling skills. He praised me for it. He's like, holy shit. He's like, you're an amazing stick handler. You're an amazing stick handler, I mean. Yeah, and that's me more training, guys. I never trained. I haven't played hockey my life, guys. Yeah. Yeah. What was your plan to make the NHL back then? My plan was to train. I even did power skating training. I was serious. I was serious for a couple months. Eventually, I fell off the map. I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. The chance of me making is not high and all that stuff. But I didn't know I was white back then. I didn't know I had the keys. I didn't know those were locked on me. I went to this place and I practiced power skating too, on the workout thing. My stepmother drove me to the place and I practiced on the thing, obviously. And my goal was to play CIS hockey, which is university hockey in Canada. Obviously. All you Americans are wanting, yeah, but Ivan, like, football for CIS players go pro. Yeah, how it works for football guys, all you American guys in the States, obviously, for football, university football in Canada is the highest level of football in Canada. For the best players who play university football in Canada, they end up in the CFL. They get drafted in the CFL. But for hockey, it's not like that. For hockey, the best players who get drafted in the NHL are the junior players, not the university players. The university players who play hockey in Canada are players who didn't make it to the NHL. They just play university football for fun. Hockey for fun. As scouts don't really scout CIS hockey players, they scout the junior players, the younger players, not the older like 22, 23-year-old players. For football in Canada, it's CIS, the best amateur football in Canada, the best players in university they end up in the CFL. But for hockey, it's the junior players. It's not CIS players. But some CIS players, if they kill the league, they can get maybe an NHL tryout, or they can be undrafted free agents in the NHL. But the chances are not high. Players who play CIS hockey are players who did not get drafted in the NHL and are just playing hockey for fun, for the fun of it. Or some of them might end up playing hockey in Europe or maybe the AHL. Some of them end up in the AHL or playing Europe hockey. The chances are they're not going to make the NHL. That's how it works. That makes sense, yeah. My plan was to play university hockey and hopefully get a shot in the NHL. Obviously. But I even contacted the Carleton Ravens coach if I could try out for the team, but he never got back to me. My plan was to go to Carleton University, obviously, the school that my youngest brother do and play hockey, but the coach never got back to me. I know why he never got back to me, because the doors are locked on me, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. The whole time fucking why I have the keys. Crazy story, yo. Oh, that's crazy, I know. Yeah, it finally hit me. Yeah, I have the keys to the kingdom. I could easily start a pro league that blows the NHL out of the water. I can be a pro hockey athlete in my own fucking league. So everything worked out for the good. Like, I want to go to Hollywood with acting. I have the keys again. The Billions Man on my book. I can start my own film super in Hollywood. I can be a movie star VJ. Or from a pro hockey athlete, I can start a league brand in the NHL and be a pro hockey athlete in my own league. And I make way more money than all these NHL athletes. So it all worked out for the good. So I have the keys. If you're a lucky son of a gun, I know I am. Obviously. Yeah. Well, what position do you want to play? Right wing forward. Because I'm right-handed. I can't play left wing because I'm not left-handed. I'm right-handed. I'm right-handed, obviously. I'm not left-handed. Yeah. You don't want to play center? No, I don't want center. No, I want right wing. Obviously. Because if I am a star player, the coach will tell, okay, Ivan, what position do you want to play? I want to play right wing. Right wing forward. I don't want to play defense. If you play defense, Ivan, you're not going to score as much goals because you're not an offensive player. Obviously. I don't want to be like a PK Subban. No, I want to be like a McDavid, Sidney Crosby, McKinnon, Ovechkin. I want to be those guys. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? A Malkin. I don't want to be an Austin Matthews. I don't want to be a fucking Subban. Even though Subban scored a shitload of points as a defensive player, I don't want to play defense, guys. I want to be an offensive player. That's why you have to really train hard, Ivan. You start that league. That's some Sarah. Yeah. Ivan, man, I want my $40 million for 10 seasons. I know you do, but you're not going to get that money, guys. I'm not going to have these athletes do me. I'm not going to sign you to a $400 million deal for your first contract. You're fucking crazy. You rip me off, man. You're a selfish player. You don't care about winning championships. You don't care about winning championships. Obviously. As if I played in the NHL, I was a star player, yes, I will demand a lot of money, but I will gladly take pay cuts to make sure other players get paid. 1-2 million paychecks to make sure other players get paid, man. It's not just about the star players. You have to make sure the good players get paid too. The good players deserve to get paid too. It's not just about the star players, man. You have to get paid their $10, $11, $12 million. They have to get paid, those guys. It's not just about star players. For $8 million, they have to get paid. It's not just about star players, man. You guys are greedy, and players who demand that kind of deal are players who don't care about the other players. They only care about themselves. They only care about making money. Yeah, I get that. I understand. You're a star player. You want to get paid. You want to live a rich life. I get that. But you got to think about other players on your team, guys, if you want to win championships in your career. Not just about you. You got to think about the players if they go on. Yeah. No, man. Like, you can get your 32 million for the first 2 seasons, but after that you have to take pay cuts. Your next paycheck you'll get your 27 million dollars. You took a $5 million pay cut to pay another player $5 million. So that works. But you're still getting paid a lot of money, more than what you make in the NHL. I'm giving you league revenue. And you're getting your magazine deal, where you get featured on the magazines and everything, man. Yeah, man. Like a professional magazine like Vogue. You know how Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby were featured in magazines and Ovechkin and all those guys? Yeah, Sport Illustrated. Yeah, they're featured in all that. And the people interview them, and you have this like magazine thing featured with the players. Yeah. Will you sell the magazines? Of course I will. That's how the league makes money. I sell the magazines. Yeah. Sell the magazines for $20 or something like that, and that will make probably a few $1 billion in revenue. Hundreds of millions to a few $1 billion in revenues. Yeah. All right, we get a piece of that. Yeah, guys, I'm giving you Star Players League revenue. That's a part of it. We're getting league revenue. Yeah. All right, good jobs, man. You're paying the players all that dough, and you're also giving them league revenue. Yeah, the star players deserve it. I don't want to be an asshole and make. There's nothing worth like because you're making your 100 like 80 win a season, Ivan. It doesn't hurt to give the star players league revenue. When they're not pissed off. But the good players and average players don't get shit. They're not worth league revenue. But the star players get league revenue. But they only get league revenue for their first mega deal. In your veteran years past your prime, you're no longer allowed to get league revenue. Because I'm not gonna have you guys dupe me and I'm not gonna overpay you guys. Have you dupe me. Because they might ask for league revenue for their second contract term, third contract term. Like, no, guys, you're not getting league revenue when you're not in your prime. You're not worth that. Only in your prime years you get your league revenue. And after that, you don't get that. That's how it works. I'm not having these guys do me. Even Sidney Crosby, Medina, Ovechkin, if they, hypothetically speaking, if they played in my league, I wouldn't give them league revenue for their second, third year term contracts. They're not worth it anymore because they're no longer in the prime. They can get their 10, 11, 12 million dollar deal, but they don't get league revenue because I'm not going to have these guys do me. You're past your prime, you're older now, you're no longer allowed to get league revenue. I'm not going to overpay you guys and have you do me. Sarah? That works, right? Don't have you guys consent, yeah. I think the food's almost ready. Yeah. No, if that's fair. You're not gonna let us players do play that. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna have you guys do me and make like $600 million in career earnings. You're not worth that, guys. I overpaid you when you made way too much money. Yeah, your first contract you made your 200, 150, 120, 200, 250, 280, 300, $30 million contract. But after that, you'll be lucky to get a 40, 60, 70 million contract. It's still good enough, right? 80 million contract, still good enough. They don't make that in the NHL. Yeah, once the players pass their prime, don't sign them to 10-year deals. Sign them to maybe 2, 4, 5, $6 million deals. Shorter term deals. $6 million deals, $7 million, $10 million deals. You sign a 6-year, like $50 million deal, that's still a lot of money for the players. But it's not the deal they made in a previous contract. They're still making a lot of money. Obviously. But only pay a veteran player who's past his prime 13, 11, 12 million, 10 million if they're still productive players. 8, 6, 7, 9 million if they're productive players. If they're no longer productive players, don't peak any higher than people $5 million for those guys. That way they don't dupe you, right? Yeah. Like, you guys all remember Jason Spezza? Jason Spezza was a one-hit wonder, man. I remember back in like 2003, he got drafted in the Ottawa Senators. He was on the commercials and everything. In his prime years, he was an amazing player. In his prime years, and once he hit his older age, you never heard from him ever again. No one was talking about him. He was flopped as a veteran player, and he was only bargaining for like $750. I think he retired from the NHL. He flopped, man. After his prime years, he flopped. So if a player flops after their prime years, release them, or they're gonna have to. They're gonna end up making their $1 million, $2 million a season, which is still good money for a player who's not an average player, right? Yeah. Yeah, we remember Jason Spezza. Yeah, Jason Spezza was an amazing player in his prime for the Ottawa Senators. And once he hit like 28, 29, 30, he flopped, man. He was not. He was now an average. He became an average player. He was not scoring any goals. He wasn't putting up that much points. That's why he was signing shitty contracts in the NHL. Teams weren't willing to pay him any more than maybe $1 million a season because he wasn't that great of a player. So that works when he flopped in his later years, Jason Spezza. In the NHL, right? That's how it works. Yeah. Flopped in his later years, right? Yeah. Ivan, who was the highest paid player in NHL history? I think Gretzky. Gretzky made so much money in the NHL. He's the richest NHL player in history because he killed it in his prime. He killed it. No one dominated the NHL the way Gretzky did in his prime. Obviously, the way Gretzky dominated the NHL in his prime, it blows all these NHL players, and Mary Lemieux and Bobby, it blows all these NHL players' careers in their prime, right? That's why he's called the Great One. That's why no one will be able to beat Gretzky's stats. Obviously, he has unbeatable stats. His goals got beaten, but his overall career points, I don't think anyone will ever beat that. It's unbeatable. No one can beat that, man. Man, that's why he's a great one, right? Yeah, no one dominated the NHL the way Gretzky did in his prime, right? Scored 90 goals in one season. That's fucking crazy, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Do you think McDavid will beat Crosby in overall points? Probably. McDavid averaged more points than Crosby in his prime. McDavid. He beat Crosby, McDavid, in his prime. Well, he beat Crosby in his end. Yeah, he beat Crosby, but Crosby beat him in accolades in terms of championships. McDavid has more awards than Crosby and all that stuff, but Crosby has more cups. Has 3 cups. McDavid has no cups, but he could have had 1 or 2 cups, but his team blew it. Because the Edmonton Oilers are fucking stupid. What? They're stupid fucking players, man. You guys make it to the Stanley Cup. I'm talking to you, Edmonton Oilers. You make it to the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row and you fucking blow it, man. You fucking lose to the Florida Panthers 2 years in a fucking row, man. You could have at least won one of that. McDavid only needs 1 or 2 cups and he's good. Could have had 1 or 2. Fucking blew it. That's why he was so frustrated. And he wanted to trade to Toronto. I'm talking to you, McDavid. I recommend you don't go to Toronto after Edmonton. Your 2-year contract is up in Edmonton. If you go to Toronto, chances are you're not going to get your Stanley Cup, McDavid. Because there's a curse in the NHL with Canadian teams. I recommend you go to an American team. I recommend you go to the Pittsburgh Penguins, McDavid. Play with Crosby, right? The problem is the Pittsburgh Penguins can't afford Malkin, McDavid, and Crosby. They can't afford that. But if you have McDavid and Crosby, Malkin, 3-star players on one team, high chance they can go to the Stanley Cup, man. You're a genius, I know. I'm throwing a theory out there, McDavid. I recommend after your 2-year contract with Edmonton, you go to the Pittsburgh Penguins if they're interested in you, man. If they're interested in you, you have Malkin, Crosby, and McDavid on one team. potential Stanley Cup contender. You can get maybe 1-2 Stanley Cups with David, right? Just throwing it out there. Ivan, thanks, man. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I thought it was cool to throw it out there, Sarah. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think Crosby has a good maybe 6-7 years left in the NHL. He's still playing at a high level. I don't see that much of a difference in quality with Crosby's performance. A little bit of a difference, if it makes a difference. He's not putting up the numbers he did in his prime, but Crosby's still putting up amazing numbers in the NHL. He's still playing at a high level. I don't see that much of a difference in dip in quality, right? He's like ageless right now. Yeah. Yeah. So Marilyn Moore, Bobby Orr, and Gretzky like shit. Oh yeah, they will. So the league. Yeah, man. I wish I was born in like they were born like a long time ago on like a totally they're Gen Xers, those guys, right? Born in a totally different generation in the older times. And they're all old now. Yeah, I wish I was born in like 2025 and I got to play in Ivan's League. 2020, 2017, I got to play in Ivan's League, man. I'd be a legend now, to be in the fucking legend game because I show. Yeah, they're fucking shit, those guys. I wish I could play with Ivan. Be a legend with Ivan, assuming I'm a star player. That's where Colin Davis and Crosby and all those Angel legends are like shit. Because they miss on the opportunity. Yeah, you're a fucking dick, man. If you do that, you're gonna crush us, man. You missed out on the opportunity. Yeah, we would have been legends in your league. I'd rather be legend in your league, Ivan, than be legend in the fucking Gatekeepers NHL, and I would have made way more dough. They would have made I missed out on all that dough. Yeah, they missed out on all that money, man. Those guys would have made a boatload of money. Yeah, $450 million in career earnings, something crazy. The generational players, right? Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Yeah, man, if you want the league to thrive, you gotta be a star player, I know. As a visual tell me, yeah, I mean, what if you're not good as a player? VJ won't tell me that though. VJ knows I have the genes. So tell me, Ivan, no, man, Ivan, if you train, you put your heart and soul into as a hockey player, you train hard like McDavid, Crosby, and all those guys, you'll be a star player, Ivan. You have the genes, Ivan. Everything your father gave you, I have the genes. I have the genes of God. Everything I put my mind into, I succeed in. Yeah, Ivan, everything that you showed us with little training, we're blown away by it, Ivan. Yeah, I have the genes, guys. Were you guys blown away by my book? Why I showed, yeah, we're blown away. Matt's fucking Harrington shit. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It is better than Jared Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Jared Tolkien is a legend, guys, in the field as an author, and George R. Martin. I wrote a better book than all those guys. I set my Torah book's #1. That's me with little training. Obviously, you guys heard my raps. A little bit raw, some of it, but it's amazing rapping. If I practice, I can be just as good as Eminem and 50 Cent and Tupac. If I really put my heart and soul into it. Those guys don't have the genes like me. Apologetics. When I debated those Muslims on Paul Wing's blog, you guys don't talk about you. I have the keys. You guys read that. The Muslims were so shocked by how good I was doing against them. They thought I was Sam Shamoon. Sam Shamoon is is a legendary apologist, man, in the field when it comes to Bible topics. Other fields he's not the best at, obviously, but in that field, he's the greatest apologist in the world, Sam Shamoon. He's amazing. Yet they thought I was Sam Shamoon and asked me with a little training, man. Sounds odd, I remember that, yeah. Obviously. Guys heard my Sam comedy. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny shit for someone, yeah, that's me with no experience, guys. Obviously. Yeah, I mean, whatever you put your mind, your heart, your mind into, you can be successful at. Yes, I have the genes of God, guys. I have the genes to be successful in sport. My father gave me all the genes to be successful in sport because he knew the gates knocking doors on me. That's why he gave me the gifts. Gave me the gifts, the genes, that way I could be successful in this world because he knew the gates knocking doors on me and he gave me the keys too. That's why the gates dumbed down my brain. Hopefully, if we dumb down Ivan's brain, the gifts will go away. That's why they done my brain. They want Mary Victoria Justice to be God and everything. But the gifts never went away. The gifts still stayed. Even if the gates dumbed on your brain and give you mental illness and you're fucked up in the head, they're not gonna take those gifts away from you. The gifts are gonna stay because it's in your DNA, Ivan. I put that imprint of my DNA in your body, Ivan. Whatever you put your mind into, you're gonna be successful at. Yes. But I could flop as a player. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Right? I could flop as a player. Yeah. Guys, I'm sorry. Yeah. Four more days off, and I work next Wednesday, right? I got paid this Sunday, like $100 at Dinty's. It's enough money though. Oh, you get Ivan. I'll get my 6 beers. I want to turn back as well. I don't have enough to get like a box of pizza or something. I'll just get slices of Bob's. Yeah, spent like $40 of my money. I'll still have like, I don't know, 70 left. 70 to 60 to $70 left. $60 is enough for me to get smokes for like 4 days. Obviously, it's 4 or 5 days, right? So I get paid, I think, on the 27th, the day Resident Evil Rechrome is coming up. I'd rather probably cover the game on the 26th. Maybe on the 27th, I'm gonna get my 6 beers. The day I get paid, I'm gonna get like my 6 beers. I'll get food too. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're gonna put it in the rule, players cannot get yeah, you can't pay a player a ridiculous amount of money for 10 years. You're gonna drain the cap. Even if you can afford it, I don't want you doing that because I don't want these guys duping me. And you have to create cap space to pay other players. Because first round draft picks in the SHL, after their 3-year contract is up, they're going to demand a lot, and they break out into the SHL as star players. Their agents will now demand a lot of money, so you have to create cap space to pay those players. But some GMs might end up trading the other veteran players. That way they can sign that upcoming first round draft pick to a big deal, and the other player gets traded. That's how it works. Or they might release the other player. That's how it works. But I mean, Yeah, to keep the players happy, pay them a ridiculous amount of money for 2 seasons. That way they get a lot of money. And after that, they gotta take pay cuts. That works. 32 million for 2 seasons, and after that, you gotta bring it down to maybe 27, $26 million. That way they get. That way they have more cap space for the players, GMs. Yeah, then they get maybe 20, 21 million for another 3 seasons, and after that, they get maybe 17 million for the final 2 seasons. Final 3 seasons, that's good enough, and they get the league revenue. They're still getting paid, and after that contract is up, now they have to take huge pay cuts. They're not going to get that deal again, and I'm not going to give them league revenue. I'm not going to have these athletes do me. You made all that dough, and now you have to take huge pay cuts. You're not going to get that deal ever again. But some agents might push for. Chances are the players past their prime, the agents won't push any higher than maybe 20 million. They might try and get 20 million. The GMs are like, no, we can't. It's not. We can't do that, guys. We're not allowed to do that. It's part of the rule. We can't pay the player any more than 10, 11, 12, $13 million. That's good enough, man. After you made all that money, right? They like the NHL. There you go, 8 million, 7 million a season. That's still good money. Yeah, it's good money, but I want more, man. I want like what I made before. But guys, man, you're not worth that anymore, man. You're no longer in your prime. You're older now. You're past your prime. You're not worth that money anymore, man. So it works, right? I'd love if they're very productive on the ice. If they're very productive on the ice, you can pay them a lot of money, but don't peak any higher than $13 million. You can still get like $13 million, but I'm not going to pay any more than that. I'm not going to have you guys do like that, man. Yeah. Yeah, but Ivan, Tom Brady made $30 million in his 40s. Yeah, but to be fair, Tom Brady took pay cuts his whole career in the NFL. Like Tom Brady was only making like $7 million, $8 million a season because what? Bill Belichick was fucking cheap. He was only paying Tom Brady like $7 million a season on average. I think Tom Brady got sick of it and he wanted a big pay. He wanted a big paycheck, and Bill Belichick said no. And Bill Belichick wanted to trade him, but Tom Brady went to the owner. I heard. He said, "Yeah, Bill Belichick might trade me," and the owner told Bill Belichick, "No, don't trade Tom Brady." Tom Brady ended up going to the Tampa Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers paid him $30 million a season. And he took his team to the Super Bowl, obviously. But to be fair, the NFL athletes are not making the money that the players in my league are making on average, right? The players in my league are even making more than the NFL athletes. NFL athletes don't have $250 million career earnings. They don't know. They have maybe 50 million, 40 million, 70 million. Except for the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks have like maybe 150, $200 million career earnings, $100 million career earnings in the NFL. Players in my league are even making more than the NFL players. Obviously, on average, right? They have higher career earnings than even the NFL players. That's why I'm not gonna have these guys do me. Yeah, you get your big paycheck for the first contract. And once you're past your prime and even if you're still a productive player, I'm not going to pay you that ridiculous amount of money again. You're not worth that anymore. You have to take huge pay cuts. You're not going to get the money you made before, guys. I'm not having guys do me. Sarah? So that works, right? I know. No, I mean, that's fair. You're not going to let us do like that. I'm not going to have these athletes do that, man. I'm not going to have an athlete make like $200 million, $250 million, $280 million for his first contract, $300 million for his first contract, and you think I'm going to pay you another $300 for another like $100 for your next contract? You're fucking crazy. No, you'll get probably your 25, 40, 50, 60 million dollar contract for your next like 2 or 3 contracts before you retire. That's good enough. Yeah. Oh, is that what these actors don't do, right? Oh, yeah, I'm saying, yeah. When you pay the press their millions, no, the press is not worth their millions. No, the press, I can start them off at $200K, and the ones who have more experience, I can pay them even $300K, $80,000 a year. That's a good paycheck for those guys who interview the players and they cover the news for each team. And you have the main SHL press. That's a good paycheck for those guys, but they're not worth their millions. And the play-by-play guys are not worth their millions either. Don't peak any higher than $750K for a play-by-play guy. If the play-by-play guy has a lot of experience working in the NHL, You start that player, I believe, guy maybe a $500,000, $450,000 a year salary. That's a good paycheck for the guys living a great life with that money, and they get their per dime. They get their hotels paid for, and I'm saying, yeah, it's all their flights are paid for. It's all paid for. Don't you? I'm saying, What about sport anchors, Ivan? Sport anchors who don't have hockey experience don't peak any higher than maybe 750K for those guys too, and start them off at $300,000. That's a good pay for those guys. But the players who have hockey experience, the sport anchors, you can start them off at maybe $3.5 million a season. No, PK Subban's working in the NHL as a sport anchor. Yeah, players who have experience are worth their millions, but sport anchors who don't have experience, who talk about the players and free agent also, they're not worth their millions. Those guys start them off at 300,000 a season. Good paycheck for those guys, and they peak at 70K. That's a good paycheck for those guys, and they get perks like their feeding's paid for per dime. They stay at the hotels. They're living great life with that money. Well, you guys saying, but they want to raise. We want like our $2 million of guys, man. You're not worth it. I'm not having guys do it, man. That's insane. Yeah. Yeah. Well, people want to raise in your league. Of course they will. They know the league is doing, I don't know, like 140 billion a season in revenue, and Ivan's making like his 80, 75 billion a season. They want it's not fair. Yeah, you're making all that pie. We want to raise Ivan. Yeah, I'll give you guys a raise, but if you think I'm going to give you a substantial raise and have you guys do that, I'm not never doing that, man. I'm the main event. If I'm the star of the league, I'm ultimately the main event, and the league's making this revenue mainly because of me, man. I deserve most of the money, and I'm paying the bills, and I paid for the fucking thing, man. I'm paying all the fucking bills, so I deserve the bulk of the money. But I'm still making sure everyone's getting paid a lot of money. They don't make any NHL right. There you go. Because we live in a greedy world, Ivan. Everyone in this world are greedy. They want to make more money, man. That's how it works. Obviously. Well, VJ is cheaper than me. I guarantee Victoria Justice, if I start that pro hockey game, Victoria Justice does her music or albums, she'll probably pay the producers, like, she probably won't give the producers a piece of the royalties, VJ, because she's greedy and cheap. But VJ, did you give the producers a piece of the royalty? No, I didn't give them shit. I paid them like their $7-8 million, and that's it, Ivan. Did you give your manager, VJ, for your world tour money? Yeah, I paid the manager like $5 million, Ivan. VJ's cheap. She's greedy, VJ. She's a Hollywood chick. VJ, how much money did you make off your music? Yeah, I made like $7 million off my album and my world tour, Ivan. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, how much did you make off your league, Ivan? Yeah, I made about $75 billion. I made like $5 billion more than what VJ made for music. I'm a bit bigger than VJ. Yeah, we both have the keys though, right? Yeah, me and VJ made like $140 billion in combined earnings in like one year, right? That's crazy. Yeah, that's why the gates want you to sell. They don't want you VJ making that money, Ivan. They're envious, obviously. That's why I came with the keys. They don't do me, man. How I can make my tens of billions, they don't do me. Yeah. The Gates make the tens of trillions, Ivan. That money's yours. Off your book. Don't have those guys dupe you, right? That money belongs to you. You just belong to those guys. Williamson, yeah. Yeah. We're gonna watch this, Ivan. I think I'm gonna watch Perry Stone. And maybe after that, I might watch Night of the Seven Kingdom season episode 5. Episode 5 is an interesting one, right? Yeah. I think what I might do for my cameras, I might maybe use IMAX cameras for my games, maybe. Yeah, is it possible we can film the games with movie cameras? Yeah, we can do that, Ivan. You're gonna get a better experience. Yeah, we do that. So if there is no special effects, obviously, there's no special effects, but I can film it on IMAX, guys. Ivan, the other leagues can't afford it. Yeah, IMAX cameras is very expensive, but I can easily afford it because the league's making as much money, right? Have the league film the games with film IMAX cameras, guys. Do that. Yeah, we can do that, Ivan. You're looking at an amazing experience. Yeah, an amazing hockey experience. It's kind of like a movie in a way, right? In a way. Yeah, do that. That's why have the SHL be the NHL on steroids. So it blows out the water. Ivan, you want to film the live broadcast games on movie cameras, Ivan? Yeah, do that, guys. That way you get a better experience than what you get in the NHL and the NFL and all that stuff. IMAX cameras are fucking expensive. Yeah, I know. To rent an IMAX camera is like 15 grand a week or something like that. Something crazy. Yeah. No, sorry. It's like $15,000 a week to rent. So for 25 teams, it will cost the league tens of millions. But I can easily afford it. Maybe $50 million, but I can afford it. The league's making enough money for me to afford it. It's going to cost you like tens of millions. Yeah, guys, I can afford it, guys. Do that. Film it on IMAX cameras. Film IMAX cameras, Ivan? I'm like, yeah. Ivan, you're looking at an unheard of experience. I know. Do that. That way you get a better experience for the games, right? Do that. That way it's more magical, better experience for the games. Film the games with movie cameras. Fuck 4K. Film it with film movie cameras. The way you get an amazing experience for the games, man. That's why it'll blow the NHL the water, the SHL. If it's not that league. I'm talking to you, I do not have these guys dupe you, right? I'm not going to obey you guys have to dupe me. Anyways, guys, this is our guys on the show. I'm Rams. I got peace. Peace out, guys. SHL The NHL. Peace out.